Thanks. Like, hey, Scoob, did you hear Nikki Blake is hosting a Scooby-Doo panel? No. Yeah. Like on today's Scooby-Doo episode, Scooby-Doo and Shaggy meet Nikki Blake. Yeah, and a Scooby Panel. Like, we need to get this puppy started. Okay, Nikki Blake, take it away, Scooby-Doo.
On today's episode of the Scooby Panel, Nikki and Wendy meet actor, stunt performer, and voice of Scooby-Doo in the live-action movies, Neil Fanning.
Well, hi, Nikki and Wendy. It's great to be on the Scooby Panel. It's me, Scooby-Doo. Hello, girls.
Oh, that's great.
Wonderful. Wonderful. We're so happy to have you here.
Yes. Yeah.
So happy to be here. It's a cloudy, rainy, crappy day here in Sydney, Australia, but I've got up early and I'm happy to talk to you guys. I'm excited. To relive all the amazing memories and give some insights into my small part in the history of this amazing character.
Yeah, we're excited to have you. Welcome to the show. Let's start at the beginning. How did your journey into the world of performance and entertainment first begin?
Yeah, it's a great question, Nikki. Everyone has a different path, obviously, into the industry. So I guess I'll go back to when I was about 7 or 8. My mum and dad say 7 or 8. We'd come home from school and in Australia, and my 3 mates. So we were a foursome who are still my best mates now. I just went to my oldest friend's wedding about 2 months ago, which was amazing. I was best man. It was fantastic. So those friendships last forever. It's pretty special. We'd come home and watch the cartoons like everybody did back in the day when you're, early 70s. Yeah, I'm that old. And obviously, that was what we did. And all the Hanna-Barbera, Warner Brothers cartoons were absolute favourites to me. I was always a fairly energetic young guy and pretty out there. I didn't really worry about what people thought of me. I just did me. And if you don't like me, I'm not everyone's cup of tea. I get that. That's fine. But I was pretty out there, liked performing and being the sort of center of attention sometimes, and we'd watch the cartoons and then we'd all get up in the ad breaks and relive the scenes we'd just seen, and see if we could remember the lines and do the voices if we could. Anyway, we were doing that and I was doing the voices, and even as a young kid I was pretty bang on some of the voices, and the energy was there and all that. And my mates would laugh and they'd say, mate, that's fantastic. That's so on point, and loving it. And I thought, and that felt good. It just made me feel good, make people feel happy. Great. This feels good. As the years roll on, opportunities come in primary school to do some performing, which I took up at every opportunity. And then that led into high school, and then I went to uni. Fortunately, I went to a school, McGregor High School in the south side of Brisbane in Australia, that had a arts focus. So they had, I did subjects in senior high school of theatre and film and television as subjects, pretty rare in the 80s. And that led me to this love of all things entertainment, really, and the discovering all the nuances of filmmaking, which I absolutely love. So that's what kind of led me into it. And then I went to university in a small town west of Brisbane, doing a diploma of creative arts, majoring in acting, but I deferred after the first year because I had a really idyllic childhood. I mean, Bruce Springsteen talks about it in his autobiography about his mates having this idyllic, connection together, just hanging out, mucking around, getting into a little bit of trouble here and there, but nothing serious. And that's what we had. We would ride our bikes in the afternoons and literally that story about, when the street lights come on, that's time to come home. That was us. We had a creek, some bushland down the bottom of our street that we'd muck around in and build things in, and all that was a bit Tom Sawyer. And my mum and dad, great, beautiful people. Dad was an engineer, mum was a nurse, didn't have any issues. I had a really idyllic childhood. No, issues, and so I didn't really have anything to draw on when I was trying to create or play characters that were troubled. And so I get to the end of first year and I thought, look, I'll defer. I'm too young. I need to get out and live some life. So ended up doing other things. And then the break, I guess, for me was Warner Brothers Movie World on the Gold Coast, a theme park, opened up in 1991. And I thought, wow, this is a great opportunity. Because back then, Warner Brothers wanted to compete with Disney and Universal Studios worldwide. They wanted to have movie worlds all around the world. And Hollywood on the Gold Coast was their first foray into that world. And so they were pouring money into the park. It was really big for them and Australia and so on. So they auditioned for all the presenters and actors for all the attractions, and they apparently they auditioned 5,500 people, and they were looking for 8 actors, 4 guys, 4 girls, to perform their street shows and some key roles in their stunt shows, the acting roles. And I got one of those, which was mind-blowing at the time. I was 24. That was really, you have these door-opening moments in your career. That was definitely one. And I ended up staying there for 18 years. So 14 years at the Police Academy Stunt Show. So I did show number 1 of Police Academy Stunt Show, because early on in the rehearsals, they realised that stunt people, they don't want to act. They're not actors. And that we had to have some strong actors to do Commandant Lessard and Captain Harris, the key acting roles to drive the story of the 25-minute stunt show, which was their flagship of the park. So yeah, I started in the acting roles in the show. I did show number 1, and it was supposed to go for 18 months, this show, and it went for 18 years. So it was just too successful, too popular, and really it was a world-class show in the end. We had the cream of Australia's stunt industry at the time. Performing in it, and we basically were mirroring in Universal Studios in that we had a cops and robbers show and a Western show, same as they did back then, and of course highlighting the Warner Brothers shows. So Blazing Saddles was the Western show, sort of thread, and then Police Academy was obviously ours. And I'll do this story about the show number 1. Bursting through the doors onto the set because I was the announcer, the opening show, and then I went into a character at the end, and then so I walk across. Welcome everyone to Warner Brothers Movie World's first Police Academy Stunt Show. And it was a packed crowd, of course. Walk across the set doing my speech. And up the stairs onto the landing right in front of the audience, which is where a lot of the picking of the audience started. And sitting in front of me is Clint Eastwood, Goldie Hawn, Kurt Russell, Mel Gibson, and all the Australian stars. They just brought over all their contracted Warner Brothers actors at the time to make this big splash worldwide, media-wise. And as a young 24-year-old performer, my left leg was involuntarily shaking, but which nobody noticed, but I did. But I did get all the dialogue out, and it was a very successful first show, and we went on to perform upwards of 20,000 performances. And then about 3 months into the show, and then I did all the other acting roles in the Police Academy stunt show. And the stunt coordinator, Vic Wilson, who is a legend in Australia, he coordinated films like Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, Gallipoli, and so on. He said to me, look, you'd be much more versatile, Nilo, if you did the stunt roles as well as the acting roles, and we can switch people around. And I went, yeah, sure. So you do a tryout? Yep. And I'd done a little bit of driving as a youngster. We had my brother, was interested in go-karts and things. And I was a motor enthusiast. I don't know what you call them over in America, but it's in Australia, I'd be called a Bevan, which is a really odd term. So I had this hotted up car, and we were car guys, but very safe, very safe. We didn't do anything radical among the streets. We'd go out to the industrial areas and burn some tyres. Anyway, it was another time. So I had a little bit of driving skills, and anyway, I obviously passed the driving audition, and then I was pretty fit back then as well. And that was my into stunts, because, as I say, we had the cream of Australian stunt industry in the show at the time, in both shows. Some legends, and they were doing training. And this is when the Warner Brothers theme park was right next to the Warner Brothers studios. There's only a fence going, between them, and we could go into the studios backstage. And it was just getting going, the studios in Australia, those ones, which are now Village Roadshow. And there was 3 sound stages then. There's now 9, and we just did Elvis there. I worked on Elvis as well recently, doing some stunt driving and fights and things. So it's huge now. But yeah, it was an opportunity to start training with these stunt guys and coordinators that were moving to Queensland, because the industry was just on an upswing, and there was major opportunities coming, and everyone saw that. And that's how you sort of start your stunt career. You need to do some training, serious training, with stunt coordinators, get to a relationship with them, because in Australia we have a grading procedure, and it's like an apprenticeship. So you start off as a SAP, a stunt action personnel, and that's the first step. And then you have to move through a lot of things and be graded. But I'll talk about stunts in a while. And then as time goes by, the studios are getting bigger, and they're doing TV shows. And there was a friend of mine who was one of the actors, the female actors within the 8. She was asked to come across to the studios and be a voice director. And because I'd done so many characters at the park, and I was doing corporate entertainment as well, so I do about 18 different characters in the corporate world at events, and that's where you can utilise your voice. And anyway, she said, "Do you want to come and be part of this voice group? Because we need to revoice actors and do all the background dialogue and so on." I went, yeah, great. So I was doing that for about 6 years before Scooby-Doo, fortunately, came to the Gold Coast to film Scooby-Doo 1. And so that was the opportunity. Okay, I've sort of rambled on like I said I would. I hope that answers your question. And we're up to the point where Scooby-Doo's just landed.
Yeah, so before we talk about Scooby-Doo, what is like one of the wildest things that you've done as a stunt performer?
So as I was saying, Nikki, that you have to be qualified in all 5 areas of stunts. So there's heights, fights, fire, animals, vehicles. And you have to show proficiency in all those areas of stunts in Australia to be graded and able and qualified to work on set, because safety is paramount. Obviously, we need to ensure the stunt coordinators, the crew, the cast members that you're working with need to know that you are an industry professional. You know, you're not just someone who says, "Oh yeah, I get this all the time at cons." People say, "Oh yeah, you're a stunty, yeah, cool. I'd love to be a stunty. I've crashed a few cars." That's not that's not going to qualify you. The idea is not to crash the car unless directed to do so. So there's a lot that goes into being proficient enough to be able to work on set, and there's a whole logbook process. It's like any other trade. It's like any other profession that that we take seriously. Safety and everyone knows that there's a high level of skill involved, which is why, just digressing for a moment, we're so excited that the Academy of Motion Picture Sciences have looked like they're going to make a category in the Oscars for stunts.
Oh, that's
finally.
Wonderful. Yeah, that's a long time coming. They should have had that a long time ago. Well,
yeah, going back to the 30s. I mean, Buster Keaton was the original stuntman. No wires. He did all his stunts live, obviously. And all the people that have come, you know, in the wake of him. So yes, we're all excited. We've been lobbying for many, many, many years, the whole time I've been involved in the industry. So that's hopefully, I believe it's coming. So when you're going into the stunt world, you have to be proficient in all those areas, but you will come in with some previous experience and knowledge of in a part of that. So you might be a martial artist. So your specialty in stunts will be martial arts. You'll have to know all the others, but your specialty will be that. If you're an ex-rodeo rider, worked at cattle properties and so on, you'll be an animal specialist, clearly. But you'll still have to know everything else. So you do specialize in things. So I'm a driving specialist. So because I've done so much precision drift driving for 30 years, I'm a driving specialist. So, for instance, if they're going to if they want someone to go over the cliff on a horse and crack the whip, they're not going to get me. They're going to get Mick, who's a ex-rodeo rider and a horse specialist. And that's kind of how it works. But you have to do everything. So I guess we all have our strengths, and I'm a little bit claustrophobic to some degree. A lot of what we do is having a strong mind. And so if you're a bit dicey on heights, your high falling training is going to be pretty harrowing, but you still have to do it. So there's certain things that you have to just train your mind to be able to do. So when you're doing a fire gag, a full burn, that takes a lot of preparation and experience and knowledge of the coordinator, how you set it up, what gel you're using, and more importantly, knowledge that the team that are going to put you out are experienced and know what they're doing. And so that's probably the moment, or the times that I came into stunts with a bit of trepidation was doing full burns. And I'm not a burn specialist, so I did what I had to do for the grading. And we did a back burn every day in the Police Academy stunt show, but that was quite basic. So yeah, but you can be asked to do anything. It's the stunt world is quite unique in that it takes a broad range of skills. I mean, fitness is obviously paramount, but also a clear head, a sense of not getting overawed by the situation, A lot of times we do the rehearsal, we come in and we build up, so we're doing a driving chase, car chase. We'll do every move at half pace, quarter pace, make our way up to where we want to be. So the cameras have got everything they need, the director's fine, and everything's safe. And so there is a process, obviously, in that goes. But you can be asked to do anything. So here's an odd one. We did a movie where we're in a cinema and something happened. Anyway, we had to evacuate very, very quickly. There's a monster coming anyway. And they said to us, okay, we want you to run out of here. They had all these extras, but the stunties sort of placed in certain spots and running across the back of the seats, sprinting, balance, like just legging it out of there on the back of the seats.
Wow.
And you think, oh, that can't be that difficult. It is. And not fall, and you need to get out of there and do it multiple times. So they're the kind of odd things that, stunties can be asked to do. It's odd, but it's so exciting because every day is different and every moment's different. And that's why I love the industry.
I imagine doing stunts is very difficult in many different ways, physically, mentally, because you are putting yourself at some risk. And like you said, if you do have any type of fear, you do kind of have to get over that in order to do whatever you're asked to do. And I imagine that that's very taxing.
It is. You have to just be consistent, I think is a really good rule. It's very important to hit marks for the camera. So, as a specialist, driving specialist, I get asked to slide cars up to cameras that are placed there with no one on them for safety. But they want me to be this far away from the camera lens in the end. And that's not easy, but it's training and it's staying calm and being really focused and being consistent. And not letting the adrenaline get the better of you when it is actually cameras rolling, because that's a common trait in actors that drive vehicles. We teach them. I'm doing this show at the moment in Sydney with Tony Collette and others, and there's some driving in there. And so I'm doing driving familiarisation as the safety supervisor for this show to get them to know the vehicle, because it's their car. So they don't need to be worrying about how to drive this BMW with the indicators on the other side because it's European. They just need to be working on their performance, and that's what we want to capture. So we do a driving familiarisation prior to shooting, and then they're comfortable with the car, they know where the brakes engage and so on. But I've been on sets where we just wanted the actor to drive up this driveway, and he did the rehearsals fine, and then it came to rolling and he got all excited and came in there way too fast and spun out on the grass, and could have been potentially bad, but that's a common thing with actors. Not everybody, but it's something that you need to be aware of.
Yeah. If you don't mind my asking, how does your wife feel about the stunt work? Does the excitement for it override the fear for the most part, or do you get an extra kiss when you walk out the door and a please be careful?
Yes, good question, Wendy. I guess over the years I've ensured that I was doing the training and making sure that I was level-headed, had a good team. She had confidence in what I was doing. However, I'm nearly 60. So I'm just being a bit more choosy about what I take now. So when a stunt coordinator rings me and says, "Oh, you want to work on this show?" I go, "Sure, no worries, mate. What are we doing? What do you want me to do?" Because the fight scenes that you do our bread and butter is fight scenes and physical work. Going to falling to the concrete from a height and doing fight scenes, it's something that it's a young man's game to a degree. Well, I noticed that I certainly don't bounce like I used to, and putting a bit more padding in where it wasn't there before, and you wake up the next day and it's like, oh, yeah, I'm feeling that. Excuse me, and so yeah, like the moment came for me to sort of go, oh, I might just back off a little bit here on the physical stuff and just do what I love doing, which is the driving, and other things. I'm a water specialist as well, so I'm a boat driver, etc. So anything water, but different level of physical abilities involved in those two things. I still do physical stuff, but I don't want to do the fight scenes. That's just me. I mean, I did a commercial in 2017, and I broke my collarbone. And it was circumstantial. Yes, it was my fault. I'm not saying it wasn't, but it was a bit of a wake-up call. My reactions weren't as on point as they should have been, and so on. And I went, ugh. and I have broken bones before, but I've been fairly fortunate in my career to be, okay. I have had friends in the industry who have been killed, who have been seriously injured. So I feel quite fortunate to get to this point in my career and divert into safety, which has always been a through thread of everything that I've done in my career in Police Academy Stunt Show. They needed someone to be the show and entertainment safety representative as a conduit between maintenance and what we were performing. And they said, does anyone want to be the safety representative? And I went, yeah, I will. I'm a joiner. I like to, look after people. I have a big sense of empathy about, we're only doing a show. Let's not get hurt. And it was me doing it too. So I went and did my safety qualification back in 92, 93, something like that. And then been ongoing training up till then, because safety on set is a natural progression from mostly all of us, my colleagues, are ex or current stunt people, stunt performers, who, because it's been a major focus about what we've done in our careers, and we have so much knowledge and experience about how to troubleshoot and make things work for the vision of the production, of the director producers. We're not there as handbrakes. We're there as problem solvers, and coming up with other scenarios that are workable and safe within the constraints of the budget. And so I really love what I do now in safety. Been primarily focused in this area for some years. And I work for Netflix and all the big productions, Amazon, and so on, feature films. And I'm passionate about what I do, because I say to people all the time, hey guys, look, we're not curing cancer. We're just making a bit of a film here, and so let's go home in the condition we are standing here right now in, please. Look after each other, look after yourselves, come and tell me if I can help. And I'm proactive about making sure that we are maintaining the highest level of safety. We have a safety code in Australia, and we've had that for many years. And it's provided a level of a reassurance to international productions that come to Australia, that they know that we take it seriously. There are legislative requirements, law requirements that we have to undertake. Lots of paperwork and risk assessments and so on, and power to the safety supervisor. So I'm the only person on set that can actually stop filming if I deem something is unsafe and production are not listening to me. I can say, I'm stopping. No, this is unsafe. I've never had to do this, by the way, because I always am communicating all the way along with everybody, because that's my role. I'm a communicator, and I want to make sure that I'm ahead of the game. I know what's coming up. We've talked about it in pre-production, and that, but changes happen on the day, often, and I have to be, making a stand because I represent the crew and the cast for their safety. So, I hope never to have to do that, but I will, because it's just not worth hurting anybody in any way to do what we do. It does happen. Don't get me wrong. It's what we do in stunts is enormously dangerous and hazardous. Kids, don't do this at home. There's the disclaimer.
Yeah.
It's nice that you're able to go into the supervisory role, because you do obviously take everything, very seriously. You're very serious about your career. You love what you're doing, and you want to make sure that no one else is getting hurt. So it's nice that you have the option to be able to do that.
And Nikki, just quickly, the benefit to what I do in safety now is that I have worked behind the camera, in front of the camera, and now behind the camera. So I have this unique insight into what the actors are thinking, because I'm an actor too. I'm an actor, stunty, and so it's all about how you feel. Life's about how you feel, especially in this industry. We're not, manufacturing, widgets. We're devoting our lives to the pursuit of the arts, and that brings with it emotion, so I need to understand, not just the physical side of safety, mental health, huge. Mental health is huge now, and it always has been for me. I've always mentioned things along the way. For instance, we had a torture scene in a TV show that we were doing. It was full on. So there's the chance, and I do a safety briefing every morning before we start work at breakfast, where I go through the weather, the hazards, emergency evacuation, and then I do a thought of the day, because that's the mental health part of what I try and bring to the show. Because safety is a pretty dry subject. So I try and zing it up with something. Wednesday word of the day. Just it's a performance for me. Anytime I'm standing in front of an audience, I'm performing. So let's do everything here, as I was saying to you earlier. And that's how you sort of get rehired too, because your reputation is that you care. And so, we're doing this torture scene. And I said part of my briefing was warning people that, we have as part of, it was Nexflix. So as part of Nexflix, we have an employee program to support mental health. If you're feeling any, feelings towards after today, please contact this number. It's on the call sheet. Be aware that this is what's coming up. In today, if you have any concerns, please come and see myself or the medic, and all the producers, and we will look after you. It can be traumatizing what we do in film. It really can, especially for the actors too, where they're playing these, sometimes demonic characters. And so there's got to be this line where, and that's been a really good progression in the last, especially, I guess, pre-COVID. Just, COVID brought out this mental health focus, and so I think it's a great thing, and I focus on that too.
Mm-hmm. It's such an important part of entertainment, But I feel that because we often say this when we're talking about animation, that the people that were doing that work are sort of the unsung heroes. We don't necessarily know them by their face. If you walked past me on the street, would I know someone who animated Scooby? Probably not. Would the majority of people even recognize a name that rolled in the credits at the end? You know, and it's such a shame because they made that and we have been enjoying it for so long and it's so integral to people. Nikki and I have said many times when we were younger and even now as adults, you know, sometimes you're just having a rough day and you just want to sit down and watch something that there's nothing bad in it. There's nothing that's going to give you any kind of anxiety. We want to see Scooby and the gang solve a mystery and go home and everybody's happy and the good guy wins. And what you've been talking about has been very much reminding me of that too, where we watch a movie or a television show and there's these incredible stunts and scenes and it's so easy to forget that, hey, I know CGI today, but you're still employed doing stunts. CGI is not taken over yet and hopefully it never will. But it's easy to forget that there are real people behind doing those stunts and they are dangerous. You are taking a risk and there is a tremendous amount of preparation, as you said, both physically, mentally, in all of, you have to check all of those boxes so that everyone is safe. And just like a big thank you to you and the people that work that part of the industry where I feel like you don't get the same kind of recognition as maybe the actor whose face is up on the billboard or on the movie poster. But what you do is just as integral, if not, I would even argue more so on some level. And I hope that people watching this interview will take this away from it, that, you know, the next time that you're watching a really cool stunt, think to yourself like, wow, people, actual people made that happen. And hopefully nobody got hurt so that we can enjoy this. It's, you know, and that helps. Speaking of mental health, that helps our mental health. It's the point of entertainment. It's supposed to be an escape from your reality when things are not so great. So thank you for that and being so passionate and diligent in what you're doing, because I would absolutely, just from listening to you for a few minutes, trust you if I was in that job and you were the one that I was entrusting my life to. I would trust you because you clearly, you have passion for this, and that is very important.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I thank you for your kind words. And I agree with you wholeheartedly in everything you just said. I always, if I'm at the cinema or any show, I always wait till the end of the credits and stay and watch, because film is a film crew, and the whole industry is very military in its makeup. It's all these different departments coming together, and everyone has to fulfill their role to the highest level for that vision to be captured in that little frame. And there's so much that goes into the behind the scenes of the detail that the art department and everybody brings to their, you know, the industry professionals. And that's why in my briefing every morning, I address the crew every day and I say, good morning, industry professionals. Welcome along to your Wednesday, blah, 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 because they are. It's not just a job for a lot of us. We don't do it for the money most times. We do it for the project, for the people we're working with, and you know, there's lots of other reasons. So you know, it's all these. In a military sense, it's to win the war. In a film sense, it's all these departments coming together to produce something that we're all proud of. And you put in the same amount of effort on a show for, you know, 6 weeks, 3 months, a year than you do on all of them. But some of them aren't successful and some of them are massively successful. You don't know. I do find, though, that the crew are a pretty good barometer of how a show is going to be received. It's in my experience of 34 years in this game. I might be doing a week or a day on doing stunts and come up, oh, g'day, mate, how you going? And what's this show like, you know? Oh, yeah, it's okay. You think it's going to be good? Yeah, no, it's probably not going to be that great. Or, you know, it's going to, no, it's going to be good. There's good vibe on the, you know, cruise, cast great. I think it's going to go well. And ultimately, that's pretty much how it happens. Not all the time, but you do get things out of the box. But getting back to Scooby's, it was for me one of the most enjoyable, well, I'd say the most enjoyable experience that I had in my career, because it was in my hometown. B, I felt so honoured to be even just the voice actor on set, because I think you're going to ask me about how I got this.
Yeah.
Do you want me to segue into that?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So, as I said, my journey to the point that I was explaining before was that I was a voice artist in doing TV shows and movies. And we're doing a movie called Queen of the Damned on the Gold Coast and voicing it. And it was 8 of us, a group of 8 actors going in and doing all sorts of things in the studio. So outside of that, we all sit around and just chat and wait for our next call to go in. And there was an actor there, one of my colleagues, and he's doing his Scooby-Doo voice, and he had a script there, and we're like, oh, what are you doing? Oh, I've got an audition for the voice actor on set of Scooby-Doo that's coming to town and coming to the studios. And we were like, oh, great. Hey, good luck, man. Yeah. And anyway, throughout the day, we had a moment where all of us sitting around and we all started doing our voices of Scooby. And I was sitting next to him on the other side. And so, you know, all 8 of us did our Scooby-Doo versions, came to me, and I just did what I could remember, the laugh, Scooby-Dooby-Doo, you know, Ruh-roh. And they were like, whoa, Nilo, that is on point. Wow, that's really good. And anyway, throughout the day, another mate of mine came up to me and said, mate, you've got to go for this, because I feel like your version's probably better than this other guy. And I went, yeah, okay, well, yeah, I probably should. There, another door-opening moment, you know? This is a door-opening moment. And in life, you can either choose to go through the door or just stand back and not, because the sweetest fruit is out on the limb. That's where it is. So risks, take risks. We need to, you know, go there to get the fruits, maybe. And so at lunch, I asked the engineer, Matt, a mate of mine, to, mate, would you mind reconfiguring the computer and I just want to put down like 30 seconds worth of Scooby-Doo voice and throw it into the casting director, who I knew. Maybe I can get a shot at this. And he rummaged around in his bag and he brought out one CD, blank CD that he had left. And I went and I paid it. He said, mate, I've only got one left, $5. Yep, gave him $5 cash for it. I went into the studio, this is during lunch, really quick, and I did 30 seconds, 45 seconds of Scooby-Doo voice. Some of the script that I could remember this other actor performing, and then the classics that I knew, because I was a huge fan. Scooby was one of the voices that I did particularly well, obviously, and that I was passionate about. I love the character. And amongst all the other voices I did, you know, Scooby was just, I mean, you have it. We love that character. We love him. And I'll tell you about my dogs later on. But anyway, so I got the CD and I was already in the studio. So I went over to the production office and I put it on Tom's desk and with a note on it saying, and he was in a casting meeting, just saying, hey, Tom, you know, like, I know this is the protocol, but I know you're looking for a voice actor live on set. Have a listen to this, might be of interest. Thanks, Nilo. Anyway, I got down to the last two in Australia and New Zealand from that CD, and because they went right around Australia and New Zealand to try and find the right person to perform this role, because they actually asked the US Scooby-Doo performer at the time, I think you know who that is, to come and do this role. They said, "Oh, look, apparently this I'm getting this secondhand." They said, we're doing a live action movie in Australia. Do you want to come out and be on set every day that Scooby's called? It's you, and you'll be performing the dialogue direct to the lead actors and actors, and then do the final cut at the end for 5.5 months in Australia. And he went, for whatever reason, maybe he had other commitments, I don't know. He said, no, I'll just do the final cut. And they went, oh, okay, no worries. Well, we'll find a local. And then they started scouring the country for this person. And anyway, I got down to the last two, and it was my mate who I was against. So we go into this thing, and it's a huge audition process. This is a really big gig, right? At the time, this is 2001. At the time, this was the biggest voice opportunity in the world at the time. First live action movie, it was huge. And the only reference we had was Roger Rabbit, which was previous to that. I think it was a few years before. Anyway, very early CGI, but still a great movie. Bob. Anyway, so they knew that they needed someone live on set. Richard Suckle, the producer, talks about this in his interviews, saying that, without me there, it's just an X on the wall, and the actors are looking at the X, and there's a first AD going, right, Raggy, Raronster. It's very difficult to act to that. So for them to be looking at me, and I'm recorded for guide track, Matt's looking at me. So camera's here. You're Matt, Nikki, and you're acting to me, and I'm acting the role back to you. So you've got eye line, you've got the space in the script for the lines to be coming, not tripping over his lines, so get his dialogue clean, and all those things. So I'm bringing Scooby to the set, right? So they needed someone who was a good with ad-lib, because I got told that, Matt Lillard and some of the other casts, especially Matt, sort of goes off the script a bit, and we just needed someone. They needed someone to just go with it and stay in character and be funny and match Matt in what he was bringing, because that often is where the gold is, where they go off the script at the end of the take or something, and they kept all of those moments, which is cool. So anyway, they say, okay, final audition is at the studios in this recording room. You're going to be videoed. That's going to be going back to Burbank in America for Warner Brothers executives to choose. This is a big deal, so we're going to ask you a series of 10 questions, of which James Gunn came up with them. So I walk in, so I go over to the studios this day, and this guy and I are standing there, and who wants to go first? I will. I always go first, because I want to set the standard and hopefully, make an impression and not get lost in the throes. And so walk in, I've got my Scooby-Doo shirt on. Of course I do. And there's Richard Suckle, producer, Raja Gosnell, director, James Gunn, writer, executives, producers. There's like 10, 12 people in the room with a camera. And I went in prepared, as you do. Any audition, you want to be super prepared. However, I didn't know what they were going to ask me. So because they wanted someone who was good at ad-libbing, improvisation, I couldn't really do too much, script work, obviously. Anyway, so they asked us these questions, and they wanted us to answer in character and in the voice, right? So one of the questions was, if you were going to attempt to sneak into somewhere, what would you dress as, Scooby? And I said, well, I've got really good legs, so I think I'd wear a dress and sneak in as an old lady. I didn't know. I'd never read the script. I didn't know that Grandma Scooby does that to get on the plane to go to Spooky Island, so, and they're just like pissing themselves laughing, going, oh my God, wow, what? Anyway, all the questions, they were laughing, they were clapping, obviously it was one of the better auditions I've done in my career. And I walked out like, wow, well, if I don't get this, fair enough. I've done the best I can. Anyway, my mate's sitting outside. He can hear all this going on, the clapping, great, back slapping as I'm walking out, fantastic. Richard tells me later on that, he knew that, man, this is our guy. But Craig went in, and he's not an ad-libber. He's a stage actor. A great voice artist, no dramas, but he's not really good at ad-libbing. And he told me later, mate, you psyched me out. I heard all the clapping, all the cheering, and he was going, oh my, I've got no chance here. They're loving him. What's going on? So, which is why I go first sometimes. You got to use everything to your advantage. Hey, put your best paw forward. So anyway, I got the role as the voice actor on set from that audition. And then we came in for the script read, with meeting for the first time Sarah, Freddie, Linda, Matt, Raja, all the executives, producers, massive table read. They'd omitted to give me the script. So I go in there early, right? I'm like half an hour early for this thing, and I walk into the room, and there's all the snacks, and everything, and then this guy wanders in, and he comes over and sort of gets something to eat, and I'm like, oh, okay, mate, how you going? And I'm Neil, just I'm Scooby voice. What's your role? He goes, oh, I'm Raja, I'm the director. Huh, okay, right. So I get the script like a minute before we all sit down. So I meet everybody, and I'm going, holy shit, I haven't even read the script. I'm flicking through trying to see what I say, what is it that I'm doing. But luckily, I actually like auditions that are cold reads, where you don't get the script and you get to do it on the spot. That's something that is a good skill to have, actors out there. Do cold reads a lot, in my experience, because you will get them. Sometimes you do get cold reads. Not so much now, because post-COVID, auditions have gone to self-tapes, and I'll talk about that if you want me to, because I'm not a big fan of it personally. But anyway, so we do the read, everything's fine, and we're starting to shoot. And every time Scooby is called on the call sheet, that's me. So they had me initially. Look, this is very early CGI, as I told you. So they weren't too sure about how the actors were going to work, and are we going to have a suit in there, just so for reference or something. Lighting was. Visual effects. It was a lot going into this, at cutting edge at the time, and so the studio that did all the animation was Rhythm and Hughes in the States, and the animation director Leon Jewson became my best friend on the show, best mate. Well, he meant Matt, but so he was the vision of Scooby, and I was the voice. So between us, we were Scooby. And And anyway, we still talk. I was emailed him something yesterday, and yeah, such a lovely guy and super successful. So we had an opportunity. They said, "Oh, we've got Chris Crookshanks, who's a tiny person, small person. We're going to get him in a suit and have him dragging the tail looking like Scooby was walking. Not sure how that's going to work. Anyway, so he was employed to do that. Chris is a great friend of mine too. Worked together a lot in corporates and so on over the years. Hi, Chris. But it was just a bit clunky. You know, he just got in the way a bit. It just didn't work because I was voicing and he's walking in, and rehearsals. It was just a bit discombobulating for the cast to be like, oh, we're looking here, but I'm hearing Neil over there. So they just said, Chris, we'll just take a break from you. But they gave him a role as the tiny henchman. Tiny henchman. He's got a little cameo, and anyway, he's got a role in it, so that was good. So that sort of took him out, and so whenever they were looking at Scooby throughout the shoot, they were looking at me. And when Scooby was up on his back legs, I was standing on an apple box exactly at that height that they'd measured. And then so they did all the dialogue with me there, and I'm doing it live to them. They're acting back to me, and they all say, especially Matt, that to have me there was a huge advantage in the show for them. You know, it's all about their performance. You know, getting this is what it's all about. And so for me to bring the energy every take, I gave it 150% every time, if that's the percentage. So, you know, it was, he talks about it being, I think he said the other day in an interview, like I was a godsend. And we became really good friends. We still are. I just had an hour-long Zoom call with him the other day. And so all the cast found it very helpful to have me there, and that I brought something to the show as well as not just the performance, but ideas, you know. It's like Tom Hanks says, know your lines, turn up on time, come with an idea. That's what you need to do as an actor. So I had these moments where we would be rehearsing a scene with the five of us, and I come to the end of it and I'd say to Raja, "Oh, Raj, I think just Scooby would say this here. Are you okay with that?" And he'd go, "Yeah, look, yep, absolutely. We'll do it as an alternative, but we'll shoot the original first." And I'll check with James Gunn. James, a great mate of mine still. He's done all right, hasn't he? James.
He's done okay.
Yeah, he's all right. I hope to catch up with him soon. It's so great to have followed his career. Anyway, so we did. They'd shoot the main scene with the script as it was, and then, you know, they'd put in my idea and a few changes, and they kept them all. Good. Which was cool because I've got the scripts at home still, and I go through the movie and go, "Yeah, hey, look, it's not there. That's me." So that was really nice because, you know, you want your performers to not just bring their A game, but to contribute to the show in a creative way. Because, you know, the structure of the episodes on the cartoons is very formulaic, and that, you know, you've only got 24 minutes to do an episode, or even the movies that they did, the full-length movies, cartoons. They didn't have the opportunity to delve into emotions and the story that we had the opportunity to because of time of the movies. So, you know, James Gunn, his script's just incredible. And we called them Gunnisms on the show. Only James Gunn could think of, you know, all these classic lines that I repeat all the time, which is an absolute pleasure. Matt saying, what'd you find, Scoob? Bunny. Like all that. Who could think of that? Anyway, there's so many. So yeah, go off the script and then contribute. So it's all going really well. And anyway, about a month in, Richard Suckle calls me into his office and says, "Oh, Nilo, look, we're loving what you're doing. The rushes are going back to Burbank, and all the executives over there are going, oh my God, who is this Australian you've got? He's amazing. Wow." So positive, great, awesome. Oh, glad it's going well, Rich. Thanks. Coming up to the Scrappy scenes, do you perform the voice of Scrappy? I went, yeah. Oh, of course, yeah. Yep, no worries. And he went, oh, okay. So I did the Scrappy and put him up, rock him, all that. And so he went, oh, great. Look, awesome. We don't need anybody else. We've got you. While we have someone else come on board. So we'll contact your agent. We'll renegotiate your contract, and you can do Scrappy as well on set. And I was like, yeah. And here's another door opening moment. So I went, okay, no worries, Rich. Happy to. That sounds fantastic. But can I put something to you? Would you mind if I didn't renegotiate my contract? I don't want to get any more remuneration for this extra role. However, what I would ask is that I just be considered for the final voice. And he went, oh, right, okay. He knew what I was doing. You got to throw your hat in the ring, back yourself. Who knows? I had nothing to lose. These are the things that you just take a risk. The fruit out there. And he went, okay, look, I've never had anyone knock back money before, but sure, yeah, absolutely. So it was a handshake, and I went, great, let's do that. So Scrappy-Doo scenes come up. I'm acting Scrappy, no dramas, and one of the most difficult moments. Am I okay just to keep talking? Because do you want to ask a question?
Absolutely.
Great. One of the most difficult scenes that I did in Scooby-Doo 1 live on set was when Scrappy transforms from Scrappy-Doo into Scrappy Rex, right? So Scrappy-Doo is this high-pitched voice, as you know, and in one take, he transitions into Scrappy Rex, which is a 40-foot demon, right? So it's going from extremely high pitch to the devil in my voice. Anyway, Raja and I worked on this for quite some time because there was moments that he knew that we needed to catch with the animation about the transition points and how long this has got to be. I'm doing it live. There's nothing there. This is the other thing about being a voice artist. I get this all the time too. I want to be people in Comic-Cons say to me all the time, I want to be a voice artist. What do I do? Well, I do some impressions. Great, give me your impression. If they do it, I do my Scooby or Scrappy or whatever, it's Shaggy back to them. It's a moment for them to enjoy. But I say, look, if you want to have a career in this, you need to get a range of voices that you can put onto a demo reel and get represented. But that's one part of it. But doing impressions is one thing, but being an actor and interpreting script and working where there's nothing, but here, using your imagination, that's what the actor is. And trying to match what you think in the vision of everybody on the show is what you're after. So when we were shooting a lot of the scenes, obviously there's nothing there, right? I've got to come up with the dialogue, the timing, the tone of this particular scene and the line and what we're trying to produce here, because Scooby and Shaggy often are the moment of breaking tension with the comedy and taking us off on another angle, perhaps. So there's a lot of subtlety that goes into that, and talking to James and Gunn and Richard and and the director, obviously, about what they are looking for. So going from Scrappy to that was very difficult vocally, and just to nail that, because they're just shooting this blank wall in the studio, and they're filming it. The lighting's there. The visual effects guys have worked out what they need, and then they're just recording me, and away I go. And I did it numerous times, and it was really hard, going from I mean, you don't hear it because another performer did it on in the final cut, but it was really tough. But anyway, it's going really well. And then they said, Raja says, I've got some ghosts coming up. We've got some ghouls here. We need a voice for this. We need that. Sorry, that we're shooting this scene tomorrow, but the actors won't be there. They're doing another wardrobe call or something. Are you right to do all the voices for them? Yeah, sure, no worries. So I ended up voicing everything on the show, everything on the movie, live. It was one day, and I've got this on my YouTube channel, but behind the scenes guys shot me doing all this, because it was unusual, because a lot of the time in voice world, you go to the studio and you're doing a cartoon or movie or something, and sometimes you don't even meet the other actors, because you have your moment, you do all your scenes, and then next one in. But for Scooby, the benefit was that it was live action, so they wanted me there, and I was improving everyone's performances, and what a gift, to be on the. Be on the 5.5 months and then going over to Vancouver and shooting Scooby-Doo 2 over there, and being involved, because I love my film family. It's everybody, as I say, coming together. They're industry professionals, and what we do is unique. And so I voiced everything, and then they came to the end of the show, wrap, and they said, look, we've got a bit of a dilemma, because it's Richard Suckle, because we did talk to the current voice in the States and doing the cartoons, but we really loved what you've done, and everybody's backing you. So what we're going to do is we're going to fly this voice artist out to Australia, and you can do your full version of the film on the weekend, one weekend, with Richard, with myself and James Gunn and Raja and everybody, and then next weekend he'll do his, and we'll choose. So it was a voice off. It was a voice off, which was great, because I'd just done 5 months of it. I felt like I had the front running, but look, show business is a fickle mistress. Nothing's ever in the can, as they say, or you've not got it until they're calling action at you. So again, door opener. Put your best paw forward. Give it 150, which I did for the 2 days. Re-recorded everything multiple times. Lots of other alts and options and things that they'd come up with since I'd spoken to them. And then they wrapped and then flew back to LA. We'll call you. And I waited and waited. And I remember I was camping on a little island off the Gold Coast with my family, young family at the time, and my Nokia 6310 rang. That's a phone that's an old school phone for those kids out there. This is 2001. And I look at it. It's my agent. Any news? And she went, sit down. They've gone with you. And I was just like, life-changing moment. And later I found out that, so humbly I say this, but all the cast went into bat for me, separately and together. Sarah and Freddie went in because they were together then, and said, look, it's got to be Nilo. Like, He's Scooby. And early on, Richard says in interviews now that I've just seen recently, they did know that, or they were very confident that I was going to be the final voice in the end, because, like, you know, I'm not the cartoon voice. I can do the cartoon voice, but what we spoke about initially in the casting was, you know, this is live action. So my voice has to be more, and it is, more gravelly, more real. How do you describe it? Has to be not cartoony because it doesn't sell otherwise. And I do both versions, and you can tell that, yeah, that's cartoon and that's not cartoon, that's live action, because we've got to be interacting with humans, and it's got to sell. And the other benefit was that I'm quite an animated actor. You know, I've got big eyebrows, I've got a lot of energy, and so they actually recorded me recording the whole movie numerous times in the Eastwood studio at Warner Brothers Studios in Burbank. Whew, what an honour. And then the animation team would have that footage down on the left-hand side of their screens, and they would build Scooby in the computer using my expressions, right, to match the voice. So I'm not only just voicing the character, I am acting it fully. And what a gift. What a journey.
That's really great.
Cool.
And it had to have been a very stressful time of you voicing Scooby and acting with the actors for 5 months, and then all of a sudden it's, well, we're not sure if we're going to use your voice, so you have to audition again, and then we'll see.
I wasn't really stressed about it, Nikki, because you know, look, I've done a lot of callbacks. That's the game. I mean, you just don't know. It's such an odd, unique industry in that, you know, you just don't know. You can be your third, fourth, fifth callback, but you can't worry about it. I mean, I just, very early on when I was doing acting auditions in studios with the casting director back in the day, pre-COVID, now they're all self-tests. You know, you just got to let it go. You know, you walk out of there and you go, well, I gave it my best, but they want someone with blue eyes and I've got brown eyes. It's not you. It's not you. Sometimes it is. Sometimes I walk out of there and I go, most times actually, I walk out of auditions, I go, wow, I really blew it. I'm not going to get this. And I get it. So who knows? Who knows? And this is leading me to, I know you're going to sort of want me to talk about the Netflix Scooby-Doo live action TV series.
Was going to ask about that one.
Yeah. So who knows, guys, whether they're going to use me. I certainly have all my paws crossed. I have been in touch with Berlanti Productions for over 15 months now. This is what it takes. You know, I'm mentoring a lot of young performers at the moment and crew in a lot of ways to sort of try and help to escalate their careers, because this industry is really hard. But resilience and being consistent is what is the qualities you need. You need to just keep hammering away, you know, and it's all about contacts and you know, promoting yourself. This is the product, so it's not for everybody to do that. But a fan actually DM'd me because I've just stepped into this online presence recently, as you know. Like, you didn't even know who I was. We got internet
we
issues.
knew who you were.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah.
But I didn't have any online presence, is what I'm saying, until about 2.5 years ago. Because like I'm quite a private person, and well, my wife reckons I had imposter syndrome, whereby you don't feel worthy of the adulation that people may give you. And so not that I didn't want to talk about Scooby, but I was really busy. B, I was raising a family. So, I mean, that's my priority. And I've got 3 beautiful kids, 2 3/4 the grandchildren now. And that's what's important, isn't it? Family's everything. So, but what was the question? Here we go. This is what I do. Oh, Netflix. Right, Netflix. Yes, a fan DM'd me because my DMs are open. DM me, guys. I've got an email address. Email me. Saying, oh, have you heard about this, Nilo? They've just announced Berlanti Productions and Netflix coming together. Live action. That's you. I went, I've been waiting 23 years for this, for something live action again, because that's me. I'm not the cartoon voice. That's fine. Frank Welker, legend. No dramas. If he retires, I'm happy to come along and be the Scooby voice moving forward. If you've got any, angles in that direction. But he said, get in touch. So I was on a show called Return to Paradise for BBC Australia Productions, and I left set and I rang them. I actually rang LA straight away. So within 24 hours of that announcement, I was on the phone saying, I need to express interest here. I'm Neil Fanning, voice of Scooby-Doo. No one knows who I am, but I'm still here. I'm still performing. I'd love to be behind the mic again for this. This is me. And they said, he says, look, let's let the producers know that you've contacted us, but you're a little bit early. We don't even have a script yet. We haven't shot the pilot. We've just announced it. So, but I didn't want to leave anything to chance. So I've just been consistently, not persistently, but consistently, periodically emailing and keeping in touch with them and speaking to them about how the casting's coming. It's taken a lot longer than they thought. Obviously, you know where they're up to now with the script, and it's a prequel. And so the gang are going to be children, and Scooby will be a puppy initially. So I've got my Scooby puppy voice nailed. And but puppies are only puppies for a short time of their lives. At 1 year old, officially, you're an adult as a puppy. Because I used to be a dog breeder. Do you know that?
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah. And
what kind of dogs?
Labradoodles.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, so council approved, Labradoodle dog breeding with my wife and family business. Because you've got to wear a lot of hats. I mean, the industry's fickle, and you need to have other income streams to bring a family up and so on. And we wanted to work from home because we wanted to bring up our own children, not have them to go to so much daycare. They did go to daycare, of course. Well-adjusted young people. But, so I did that for 16 years as a dog breeder. Mm-hmm. And as I said, I talked to you about my dogs. When we first got married in 1990, I'd never had a dog before. We had rabbits and a bird. But I wanted to have a dog. So when we went to the pound on the Gold Coast, and we rescued a pound puppy, border collie cattle cross, beautiful dog. And what was they going to call him? Scooby-Doo, of course.
Perfect.
And then, yeah. And then we're on acreage. So 6 months later, we went back and got a mate for him because he's getting a bit lonely. And we picked up this Bitzer, and he was dappled and all that. And he was really odd looking, and we called him Scrappy-Doo.
That's sweet.
1990. Mm-hmm. 10 years later, I sneak Scooby and Scrappy in my car onto the set of Scooby-Doo, and I get photos of us in front of the real Mr. Machine on set. 10 years later.
That's wonderful.
That's great.
I mean, and Matt talks about this too. Oh yeah, he had dogs, as they're called Scooby-Doo and Scrappy-Doo, as a dog breeder. This was meant to be.
Absolutely.
So you want some synergy in your life, and and it was a nice moment. So yes. So getting back to the Netflix scenario, I'll give you the scoop. I contacted them only last month again, and they are casting this month or next month.
Okay.
So if anyone out there in the Scooby-Doo fan army wants to contact Belandi Productions, start a petition, I'm not going to stop you. Wanting me to be involved, if you do want me to be involved, that is. But I think there's. I'm super excited. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm just piquing my excitement about this whole production. I'm not trying to get too ahead of myself, but I feel like I've got more to give with a series now. Wow, we can take Scooby in so many different directions, and very clever, I must say, by Warner Brothers. To have them as children, I think, because they can grow up into the teenagers that they are supposed to portray and go on, depending on how they look at that point. Because Matt was 33 when we shot Scooby-Doo, so I think it's very clever. It's a bit like feels like a Harry Potter kind of idea, only in its structure. Not what I haven't seen a script yet, of course, but I know they're going to talk to me, and I as soon as I can reveal any more detail, it'll be on my socials. So Scooby-Doo Neil Fanning, folks, get that, like and share and all that stuff. I've got a YouTube channel too. I'm just new into this reveal. I've come out of the kennel, so because what happened was I did the Gold Coast Film Festival is a festival at my hometown that's been going for many years, and they in 2021, of course, they did the 20th anniversary of the festival, and it was the 20th anniversary of the film Scooby-Doo. No, it must have been 2002 because it was the release 2022. And the feature film of the whole festival was Scooby-Doo, obviously shot at the time, the biggest budget show in Queensland at the time, blah, blah, blah. It did pretty well, blockbuster. And so they featured it as their movie. So they were screening Scooby-Doo on the big screen again. And they had all the props. John Cox brought all his props in the foyer and the big backdrops, and it was fantastic. Looked amazing. Right, so this is COVID time. I know I've mentioned the C word, but that's the last time I will. And we went to the Byron Bay Blues Festival, which is a huge event, supposed to be social distance. Well, it was a bit of a joke because there was 40,000 people in tents for 5 days. And, of course, I got COVID and my wife got COVID. So I was supposed to – they asked me if I wanted to be the special guest at the end of the movie, do a panel, and so on. I went, yeah, great. Leading in, I said, okay, look, I haven't done anything for a long time. Yes, this seems like great synergy for me. I'll come along and do the panel, and I'll bring my mum and dad. They're in their 80s, and my sister was coming up from Canberra. And anyway, people flying in. It was going to be cool. And then I bloody got COVID, which was so disappointing. But they said, look, no worries. Look, we understand you can't make it, but let's do a phone interview. And I did. And I spoke for, I don't know, 40 minutes or something, 45 minutes. And no one left. It was very engaging. I talked about all sorts of stuff. And as you can tell, I go okay talking. And so afterwards, the publicity manager said to me, Neil, that was great, so good. We've recorded it all, but she said, you should be doing Comic-Cons because the fans would love you. They would just, it's so much insight and no one knows, like you're just fresh. and Scooby has grown over the years. You know, really, the legacy is quite incredible and unique in animation. So I said, yeah, okay. Look, it felt good. I loved it. It was fun. Do you know anyone in Comic-Con world? She went, yeah, I know the CEO and owner and founder of Supernova in Australia, the biggest Comic-Con in Australia. So yeah, I sent a expression of interest to him with my CV attached, and about 15 seconds after I sent that to him, my phone rings. What? Where have you been? What? Who? What? Okay, yes, absolutely. I'd love to have you for sure. Let's talk. And I went, yeah, I've been a bit busy, mate, but I'm wanting to do them now. So let's test the waters, see if anyone's interested in coming to see me and have a chat and things. I'll do a panel. Yeah, fine. Anyway, I did Brisbane. It was nice synergy too, because that's where I was born, Brisbane, Queensland, Australia. And it was their big event, huge convention centre there that I'd done heaps of corporates at. I came along as a guest, and I got smashed. It was the queue was out the door, and I didn't stop. I was first there, last to leave, and I went, "Whoa, that was unexpected." But you know, he was confident that I would certainly be of interest to people, and that's when I realised what this character means to people. You know, really, because I got so much love and honest feelings from people that were coming to see me, and like you, Wendy, was saying that if you'd had a hard day, that this was an escape for them. They'd put the movie on and all their worries would go away. Safe space. I got that a lot. This is my safe space. When I was a kid, I was getting bullied and, you know, whatever. Mum and dad were fighting or something. And I was like, wow, that's great. Like, what an honour to have done something a long time ago that can still bring people joy. I mean, you know, there's enough stuff going on in the world at the moment that, you know, let's just get kindness and joy and just spread that like there's no tomorrow. Because, as I say, life's about how you feel. And for me to have made people feel safe and secure, it's just the ultimate gift to be keeping doing, which is why I absolutely love the space that I'm in right now. I just got married recently, you know, new life, and my wife's amazing. We travel together, doing international Comic-Cons now. It's growing, and we just got back from the UK, doing Manchester and Birmingham over there, which was, again, was very popular. The UK was actually the second highest grossing market in the world after the US. So Scooby is hugely popular over there. And of course, you know, as you say, the legacy continues and it's actually growing. And memes have helped that and along the way. But, you know, it's quite a unique scenario for a character to be so loved, and the enduring history of him and the franchise and the whole thing is quite unique, and I'm just honoured and privileged to be a small part of it, and I don't take it lightly. I'm very, very grateful for all the things that it's brought me, speaking to lovely people like yourselves, and bringing joy to fans. I try and give them the time and the experience that they've built up in their minds, right? So for me, I've done a lot of corporate stuff. I worked at theme parks. I worked in, you know, tourism, and I just want to make people's day, life, whatever, make people happy. It's a good credo. And so, you know, I know that people see that I'm coming to a Comic-Con somewhere or I'm going to be here. They build that up in them. Oh, got to go and see Neil. I want to meet this guy, and so on. And so they're building up this expectation already leading into the event, months away. And then they're traveling there. They get there. They're doing their videos. We just got to the train station, super excited. Neil Fanning, come and sing us. And others too, and other of all my colleagues who I have the privilege of meeting and getting to know. And that's another Comic-Con family, which is beautiful now too, because we all feel the same way about the fans and their passion. And then they get there, standing in line, finally get to me. I feel a responsibility to make that person walk away after our interaction, that I try and give them as much time as possible, and do the voice obviously for everybody, give them what they want, need, hugs. It's just humbling, but I want people to walk away with the saying to their friends and knowing that, that exceeded my expectations. That's what I want. And if I can keep doing that for the time that I'm here, that I will be happy with that scenario, because it's a gift that I'm very, very privileged to have been given.
Well, the passion that you have for voicing Scooby, it definitely shows through. Mm-hmm. So when you're just you talking to us, like, knowing that you were the voice of Scooby-Doo in the movies, first of all, it kind of blows my mind that you're talking to us. Thank you. We know a lot of people who grew up, like, these movies were their first introduction to Scooby. And then from the movies, they went back and watched the cartoons. Wendy and I are older, so our first introduction was the cartoons. But yeah, it just... You put life into Scooby, and now you're using that at Comic-Cons and other events to, bring joy to people. People love Scooby. We love Scooby. So yeah, I was one of those that, like, Scooby is my safe place. It's the one thing that, I can get lost in and just forget about the things that I'm going through.
Yeah, totally. I appreciate that, and thank you for your kind words. I appreciate everything, but when people come and I get varying degrees of emotion. I've had people just crying and just they're shaking to meet me, which is kind of, look, it's beautiful, but it's a bit strange for me. I mean, I'm just me, and I've done 55 movies and TV shows, and it's just. But I get it because I'm Scooby to them, and because I talk with my face and my hands. I mean, I'm quite animated anyway. They can see that when I do the Raggy, monster, they say, oh my God, this blows their mind, and he just made my day and all that. And all I have to do is open my mouth. And the best thing is, no one knows who I am a bit. Now they are kind of discovering a bit. But I can just be me and live a normal life and travel and so on. And I don't have the fame thing. And then I open my mouth and people just light up, because they go, oh my God, that's so cool, and it's easy for me. I never don't do the voice for anybody, because that would be crap. It was just like, it's easy for me, and I want to make people feel good. Look, I want to make people feel good in every way. Every interaction has to be positive for me. That's all. Because I want to feel good along this journey. We're only here for however many thousand days. So I go to the supermarket and I go, oh, g'day, Cheryl, how are you? Nice to see you. She's doing how's your day been? Blah, blah, blah. Have a chat. What's going on? And if I'm the one person that she goes home and says to her husband, oh, how's your day? Oh, it was crap. But I had one guy, he was so friendly, and he just made me perk up for the afternoon. I was going to just, have a real struggle. Great, you know. What you walk past is what you accept. All those words. These thoughts of the day that I do on set, they're really powerful. Words are really powerful. So it's a thought of the day that I try and get a barometer of the crew and what they're feeling. Are we struggling? Is it Friday? A bit more lighter? Thought of the day. So I actually do put a lot of thought into it. But it's my credo personally is it's a big call. Make every moment an event. So here's an event for me. I get the opportunity, and thank you for asking me to come onto your beautiful podcast, because I can see in the BG there that your passion is there, and I've listened to your podcast and it's really good, and I hope that the fans of your podcast will come and see me and talk to me and email me and get behind me for the Netflix thing, because honestly, what do you think? What do you think about the Netflix scenario? I've heard you talk about it.
The Netflix,
early on.
I didn't really know much. Actually, you saying that they were going to be kids and Scooby was going to be a puppy, I didn't know that for the live action series. We love Scooby as a puppy. So that's kind of exciting that he'll be a puppy. And yeah, and I think a lot of us are kind of worried about what's going to happen with it, because we just got Velma, and Velma is not exactly the way that we think things should be in the Scooby-verse. So
No, I wholeheartedly agree with you there. And look, the fan reaction has got to tell them something. Hopefully, they're listening to the fans. I mean, this is what I agree with you guys. I think that they should do some polls of Scooby-Doo fans and get your audience's ideas about what they want to see, and the direction that they want to keep the franchise happening. And for them, the passionate fans is where it's at, because there's your audience right there. You've got to give them what they want, hopefully. And I'm encouraged by the fact that they have released that it's going to be a prequel and the kids, because I firmly believe that they will never digress from a Scooby-Doo being G or PG rated. I think it's got to be for everybody. It's got to be accessible. Like, it's 3 generations now. I get I get families coming to me dressed as the gang, and they've got their baby in a Scooby-Doo onesie being pushed in a Mischief Machine built pram, with the daughter's Daphne, the son's Shaggy, and he's the grandfather is Fred. Like, it's beautiful. It brings families together. It's some people go fishing together, do whatever they get. People go to Comic-Cons, and this is their world. And it's great because it's innocent. It's, let's keep the innocence happening with it. And I'd be surprised. I don't know this because I'm just on the periphery at the moment, but I'd be surprised if they went in any other direction than keeping it very PG, and having the formula. I mean, I think obviously. So what I know, and I don't know if you know this. So prequel, Scooby's a puppy, and initially Shaggy and Daphne find a stray puppy, and they take it in, because they believe that this puppy has been a witness to a mystery. And then they find out that he can talk.
Okay.
That sounds interesting to me. That's a nice moment that we've not seen before. And I'm excited by that, and I think that, hopefully they'll just continue on in a nice vein.
Yeah.
Let's hope, but wait and see.
Yeah, that's definitely what we're hoping for. Because
Yeah.
I will tell anyone, I am the biggest Scooby snob. Either I like something or I don't, and I'm very rarely swayed from how I initially feel about something. I'm very much like classic Scooby, and I don't actually need anything else. I'm trying very hard to come more around to the idea that as long as they have not completely destroyed the integrity of the character, then even if there are iterations of something that I love, even if I am not a fan of that particular iteration, if it brought other people a level of joy, I'm trying very hard to that's good and that's a valid thing. I don't have to not everything is made for me. I don't have to like everything. And I must say, I think there is value. I'm so glad that you are putting yourself out there in the social media realm now for people to get to know you, not just whoever that guy was that did this voice in this movie, but you as a person, because I will freely admit, I've never been a huge fan of the live action films because anything past a pup named Scooby-Doo, to me, I'm like, it's too modern for me. Even Zombie Island, sometimes I'm like, do I like it? Don't I? I'm not really sure. Cause like I told you, I'm a snob. I really am. I can't help it. It's how I am. But our friend Devin thinks that the sun rises and sets on that first live action movie. And you can't not feel some of that when you're listening to him talk about it. And listening to you talk about how you approached this and how much you wanted it and how much you love it and just your passion for it. Because obviously I didn't know you. I know your name and I knew what you did previously to this interview, but I didn't know you personally at all. I've never met you before. You have completely made me a fan of you to the point that I can honestly tell you, I like that live action movie a lot more right now than I did this morning. And that is simply because now when I think of it and I think of how important it was to you, and then I compound that with other people who, like Nikki said, for a lot of people right now, because of the age demographic, that was their Scooby. That is what they remember. I mean, I grew up, when I was growing up, Scrappy was predominantly what I was seeing. So I'm a big Scrappy fan.
So
but
I see.
For a huge, huge number of people right now that make up the Scooby fandom, the live action movies are where it's at for them. And you as a person, no matter what I do or don't like about that, I don't think I can hate on this movie ever again, because it would be hating on you, and I can't, because and I hope that that's coming out right when I'm saying it, but I think that is really important, because a good actor, whether they're doing voice work, whether they are in front of the camera, a good actor should put something of themselves into that character if they have a passion for it. And Nikki and I are always telling, anytime we have the privilege to speak to any of the animators that have worked on any iteration of Scooby, when they have a passion for what they were working on, it makes the product better. And you can tell when you watch something, did the people that created this care at all? Or was it just like, oh my God, get it off my desk. It just get it out of my face. And I feel like that passion is something that comes through in the quality of whatever creative thing you are doing. And so live action Scooby has a whole new life for me now, because now I know you, and now I know what went into that for you. And I personally not that Nikki and I have any clout, but I hope that on this new series that they do come back to you, because I think that would be such a beautiful full circle coming around. You did it then. There's no reason that you shouldn't be doing it now. And I think that the fans would go absolutely bananas for that. There has been some talk in the Scooby community for the last year or so about like, wow, wouldn't it be great if they brought back Freddie and Sarah and Matthew and Linda and did, even if they're older now, who cares? Just make a new Scooby movie with them. There is an interest for that out there majorly right now. And so whatever they're going to do with this series, I do think that you would definitely be the one to do this for a whole variety of reasons. And I think you clearly would enjoy doing this. So like our fingers and our paws and everything is crossed that they're going to call you and bring you around for this, because I think that everything is lined up so well in what you've been telling us from start to finish that, I mean, it would honestly be kind of a travesty now if you didn't get this part. So whoever's watching that has some pull or clout somewhere, guys, like make it happen.
Here. Here. Look, I couple of points there, and thank you. I have another convert into the live action, because passion, like he was saying, it's not just me. Everybody on that project and everybody on Scooby-Doo 2 had the same passion and a commitment and desire for this to be the best it could be for them professionally, personally, the fans, the franchise, the legacy, the honor of being involved in such a cult scenario as Scooby. We all felt that responsibility, and Matt and I talked about it at length, leading in the rehearsals. We've got to get this right, dude. We've got to make sure that we are on point, because the gang's really important, but Scooby and Shaggy, they are the linchpin of the show, I think. I mean, it's called Scooby-Doo for a reason, I guess. And that was why I gave my everything for that show, and I give it all the time for anything I do. Like saying, I've said this, I want to be here doing everything. And interestingly, you talked about the Scooby-Doo 3 with the same cast. Look, it's not like they don't know there's a need out there or a want from the fans. And for me, I would jump back onto any opportunity like that. That would be amazing to get Matt and I together. It's I would say quite unlikely. Just my opinion, because of varying factors, but not out of the question, of course. You got James Gunn with a bit of clout in his role now. Perhaps I'd love to be involved in that, but the Netflix show, the advantage of having me involved, I guess, is that I've already done live action twice. We worked together for nearly a year and a half on set. Me performing the role live on set. There's going to be enough changes in the live action series, them being a prequel now, the children. I've worked with children a lot in my career, in stunts, acting, all over the place. In corporate land, doing pantomimes and so on. And so I work well with children, and I just think I would be able to assist them in their performance, because I'm there live and I'm be talking to them, and having that connection. It's a unique scenario where we're actors who go way beyond just mates at work, friends at work. We become emotionally connected and have lifelong friendships like Matt and I, which is fantastic. So I think I've got something to give. And look, I appreciate your support, and anything that anyone who's watching this who could make some suggestions to people. Richard Suckle has been so kind. The producer of Scooby-Doo, I reached out to him April last year to say, they're doing a Netflix live action series. Do you think you could just put a word in for me? I'd love to be involved. And he said yes, and he did. So he knows Greg Berlanti. So look, I've done all I can to, put my best paw forward, and time will tell as to which direction they want to go. And to have, I guess, the changes are enough, but what you can have in your ear is the knowledge that it's me, it's live action Scooby. It's not anyone else, because that tone is quite unique that I bring, I hope. And moving forward, because I think they had a scenario where was it Lilo and Stitch or something, where they did a different scenario, a reboot, and they didn't use the original actors for the voices, and the internet blew up. It was very, very badly received. So it's like when you hear a song, you've got that nostalgia about where it takes you. And you go, oh, I love this song. I remember I was, on a date, blah, blah, blah. Well, that's what Scooby hopefully will bring if I do it in the Netflix series, because you've got that, enough will be different. And I don't know how Scooby's going to even look. He might look different. It's 23 years since CGI, back then. Who knows what he's going to look like? But even if he looks different and there's a different cast and different look to the thing, at least they've got the sound that it's me. So that's what I'm banking on. But like I say, I just don't know. But it's very soon. It's very soon. I'm really excited. So, we might leave it there with a teaser to stay on my socials, folks, and I'll let you know as soon as I know. Put him up. I'll whack him. I'll suck him. I love you, Scrappy, by the way. Wendy?
Oh, I have so many you don't even know. Nikki,
Oh my
look at her
gosh.
rolling her eyes. Look at her rolling her eyes. Nikki, you didn't even notice I even wore my Scrappy earrings.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh. Wow. And I listened to the Are You a Scrappy or Scooby on the Are You a Scrappy on the Fence, that podcast recently too.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Do you want to know? You weren't a fan of the movies, and conversely, Wendy, I'll forehand or backhand back to you. I wasn't really a fan of Scrappy either. I'm that guy.
Well, I have to go. I'm just kidding.
It's about time someone's on my side with not liking
poor
Scrappy,
Nikki.
so.
Poor Nikki. I always rub it in when someone's on my side for the Team Scrappy. But if you're not Team Scrappy, I guess that's okay.
Can I just tell you why? Right,
yes,
from
please.
my point of view, right. So I'd watched the original Scooby-Doo, Where Are You, all my life until Scrappy came along, right? And I was a huge fan of comedy duos. Like as an actor, I used to watch Abbott and Costello and all that, Lewis and Martin, all these classic comedy duos. And that's what Scooby and Shaggy are. They're a duo of comedy for me. And so three's a crowd. So when Scrappy came along, I just felt like there was this different tone, a different vibe that it was a bit discombobulating for me to sort of enjoy that combination. That's all. It's I like the voice. I do the voice. No dramas. I like puppy power. All that. I love that. That's cool. And I liked Don Messick's version. But, as a character, I just felt he was a bit destabilising to the gang and to the boys. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
And
Go ahead, Nikki.
and
Look at her. She's just dying over there to say something.
she's loving it. Loving it. And did you know, Wendy, that Warner Brothers made the decision to make Scrappy the villain in Scooby-Doo 1 because they wanted to shelve him permanently.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So this was the reason, because there was quite a bit of negativity from the fan base about the character, and there was a bit of not sure whether he was going to make a reappearance sometime. So they made, well, actually James Gunn and production way above my pay level made the decision to make him the villain, to have him float away to somewhere elsewhere to never resurface again. So there you go.
Yeah.
That's why he was the villain.
The movie kind of turned things around a little bit, though, for Scrappy, because the way that they portrayed him in the movie, people that disliked him felt like they really did him wrong in the movie. And it kind of made people's opinion of him flip to where they felt like now he needs to be redeemed.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, we did a poll.
That.
We did a poll. What was it, last year or the year before, Nikki?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Within the last year or two, we did a poll just to see sort of like if it was still like, what is the balance between pro Scrappy and like the very anti Scrappy? Because I feel like there is an in between, and I think there's more of an in between now, but it definitely used to be like it's hot or cold. Either you really like the character or you absolutely never want to see him again. And I mean, I think we were all surprised that the poll, it was close, but it did go into the favor of Scrappy. I don't think it quite hit 60%, Nikki, but it was 50 something, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. That was when we did the should they bring Scrappy back panel. Yeah. So that was, I think even we were kind of surprised by that, because I guess with anything, like the saying, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Well, sometimes the people that are hating on whatever it is, it doesn't matter what it is, sometimes they just scream the loudest, and the ones who are more indifferent, like, oh, well, like I'll watch it, but I'm not like the biggest fan, but who cares? They typically don't say anything. So yeah, I think we were expecting it to be trending more towards the negative, but I'm curious, do you think that how he was treated in the movie, I mean, Nikki is postured that for us, it kind of looks like maybe they went so far that it flipped even the previous haters. But from your opinion, and given that you would have still been watching this kind of thing on television when Scrappy came out, so maybe there was scuttlebutt back then about like, oh, we like this or we don't like this. Do you think that the movie did the opposite? Do you think that if they hadn't treated him that way, or they had just omitted him completely, that it would have somehow shifted whichever way it went? Like, do you think that the movie did have an impact one way or another on how we currently feel about that character? Or it was just kind of not really a thing?
No, probably did. Look, I voiced him on set, and those scenes where, and I've got this on my YouTube channel, I just put up recently, no one's seen it before, of me voicing Scrappy with Freddie in the car, that car scene. He's peeing on me, that. You don't have the scrot for this. I thought that was a bit full on, and so, but I think, look, they took the elements of the personality of the character to the nth degree, where being, bully's probably a harsher term than he is, but forthright, opinionated, a bit of a megalomaniac. He wants the power. That's, I don't, Whereas, look, it was the opposite of what Scrappy and Scooby and Shaggy are about. You know, they're peace loving, you know, no dramas guys. But this character was definitely not that. So yeah, it did take it to a place that, well, I wasn't expecting. And yeah, it probably did provide some another flip of empathy towards the character, the way he was finally treated, and the dialogue that was given. But I think that's just James Gunn. You know, he just had free reign to take it where he thought, and that was the. I mean, it had to be, because, you know, he turns into Scrappy Rex. You know, I feel like the progression of the character throughout the show needed to be ramping up to a point where, you know, in the third act, that it really explodes. So you couldn't have him sort of half, like, not being over the top leading into that, because you know, he turns into the 40-foot monster and wants to kill everybody. So yeah, it's a bit Godzilla.
Yeah.
Really. So yes, probably. But yeah, I just wondered if you knew that they wanted to shelve him permanently.
Yeah, I didn't realize that it was quite that, because I have seen occasionally it makes the rounds on the internet, a tweet that supposedly James Gunn did at one point that was quite derogatory to Scrappy, and very much in like just get rid of them, but with a lot of expletives in it. And I don't know if it's real or not, because it's someone screenshotted it, but I mean, you can't trust anything, so I'm not sure. But every once in a while you'll see it pop up and a bunch of people share it and everything. So yeah. But no, I didn't realize that it was actually, I mean, obviously Warner Brothers would have had to sign off on anything, but did not realize that they were kind of the instigators of that. So,
well, I don't know how, like, you know, that's just what I got told when when we were doing the script breakdown, about, I don't know where it came from, but that was the message I got. It was that yeah, I was like, oh wow, Scrappy's the bad guy. Holy shit! And they said, yeah, well, they want to get rid of him. They just don't want to ever see that character ever again. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, this is going to do it. When we fly him off to somewhere.
It makes more sense knowing that they didn't put him in Return of the 13th Ghost.
Yeah.
Because it just didn't make sense that the whole series had Scrappy in it, and all of a sudden the sequel, he's nowhere to be found. But all of the other characters were in it.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Well, that's okay. Scrappy can live here in my closet for all of eternity. And if you guys don't want to visit, that's okay.
It's fine. It's fine. Any passion for any Scooby-Doo iteration is fine. All good. Any other questions?
It's kind of a weird question. Clearly you have an accent, and I'm just curious, how difficult is it? I would assume now at this point in your career, because you've been doing it for so long, it's pretty easy for you, but was there a point where it was difficult for you to do voices and not have your accent come through?
No, it's yeah, the skill set of a voice artist has to be pretty varied. Doing certain accents is very helpful to you. And because I was working at Warner Brothers Movie World, it was Hollywood on the Gold Coast. So every show, every character that I did was an American accent. Hollywood, it was do the Mafia show, so it's New York. You're hosting, you know, the Lunch with Legends show, so you're doing a Las Vegas sort of version. So I had a very strong American accent from 1991. And that was helpful, because what I was saying was, when I go into the studios to as a voice group, often we were revoicing Australian actors, bit parts and so on, whose American accents weren't strong enough, and we would revoice them, and that was a very helpful skill to have. So Scooby, like in the cartoons, like Scooby doesn't say too much, but what he does say, it's American, of course. So I didn't have any problem doing Scooby as an American, in the American accent. Sorry, and it's not that difficult for me to flip in and out of it because that's what we do.
Yeah.
Some accents I can't do at all. Scottish, I'm terrible, but you just stay in your lane,
Yeah.
So
Can you do
it's all good
Scooby's
fun.
voice in an Australian accent?
Oh, that's a good question. There's a question I've never been asked. Well, g'day, mate. That's terrible. Yeah, that's a very good question. Thank you, Nikki. A question I've never had before. But yes, I will work on it. Next time we talk, I'll come back with some Australianisms.
Okay. Scooby is
We look
Yeah.
obviously my favorite, and the Australian accent is my favorite accent. So
Oh,
the two together would just be perfect.
well, that's beautiful. Lovely. Fantastic.
I have a question about
Yes.
the puppet. Now,
Oh,
you'll have to correct me if this is true or not, because obviously I don't know a ton about the movies beyond what you've shared with us today, but that Jim Henson puppet, that seems to be modeled a little bit differently than the prop head that you have. It looks a little different to me. I really like that original, the look of that puppet, but as far as I understand it, and please, again, correct me if I'm wrong, were they originally considering doing the film with the puppet as opposed to CGI, and then changed course partway through the process and said, no, never mind, we're just, I'm sure there are props at some point, but we're going to go CGI. Was there ever a time where they were going to make a live action with a puppet Scooby?
not that I'm aware of. No. My understanding was that in pre-production, there's a lot of options that are presented to directors and producers and so on. There's a lot of ideas. I mean, you're just putting up this big whiteboard of ideas, and then each department will sort of go down these roads of presenting things to producers and directors that need to be approved to be in the show every step of the way. This is the attention to detail that people don't realise, down to we're going to use a green folder or a blue folder on the table. There's 1,000 decisions that are made. So no, I don't believe so. I think they lent on Jim Henson's factory because he was the gold standard at the time, and he probably still is, of producing something that was a possibility. But no, I think they always had the CGI idea to go with. I mean, Richard Suckle had the rights to Scooby-Doo for 7 years before we rolled cameras.
Mm-hmm.
That's how long these things come to fruition. And speaking of passion, I mean, there's a guy who had passion in a bucket loads for this show, and I think that showed. Everybody, James Gunn, Raja, director, the cast all loved it. I mean, we're all fans of it. Man, Isla Fisher and a fellow Australian actor who, very early in her career, was had a big break from the soap world that she'd worked in, and she would say to me often on set, because we were kind of pals, because we were at sort of the level of cast and the only Australians, but she would say to me, "Oh, is my American accent okay?" So I wasn't the dialect coach, but I was just sort of, So encouraging her that yes, you're fine. Look, don't stress it. It's good. It's good. Because she was a young actor then, and this was her biggest gig by a mile. And again, we all felt this responsibility to make sure that we were on point and that was going to be successful. And we did the press together. I voiced a ride, the Spooky Coaster ride at Warner Brothers Movie World back in the day when they opened the ride, and what a pleasure for her and Linda Cardellini and myself to do the press for the Australian premiere of the movie at Warner Brothers Movie World, and for me to open the ride, which I voiced, and I'd worked there for at that point 11 years. So some nice synergy moments, really, for me. And so that's no is the answer. God, I rattle on, don't I?
And now that you've had 20 plus years to reflect on two movies that were, I mean, they're a milestone in Scooby's history for sure. Nothing can ever take that away from them. So now that you have had all of those years to reflect on that, what are you most proud of from those films? And is there anything that looking back, you think now like, I wish I could go back and just like change that a little bit or tweak it?
What am I most proud of? Look, it's the fact that that what we did and the energy and the passion that we put into it was rewarded by box office success, and the fact that it's still a good movie now. You know, there's so many movies that get dated, and that the sequels are really poor after the first initial bang. Whereas Matt and I especially think that Scooby-Doo 2 is a better movie than Scooby-Doo 1 for a lot of reasons. But so the legacy, I think, is the most proud thing I'm most proud of. And that people still love it. They still watch it all the time. It was only on the other night. Last night, I got a text message from a singer mate of mine saying, "Oh, my kids want to watch Scooby-Doo 2, and I just thought of you. Hope you're well, mate," and all that. So that's their legacy. It's just they're generational now, and to be part of this amazing, unique franchise as I've talked about is just an honour. Really is. What would I do differently? I guess it was a shame that they made the decision when I got the voice, when they went with me for the Scooby-Doo 1. They said that we really just want to keep you under wraps. We don't want your face to be the anything to do with the promotional angles leading in. I did go to the premiere at Man's Chinese Theatre and did 70 interviews. That was fine because it was coming out. So I would have liked to have done the press junkets and so on, because we all got on so well. But what they did instead was they actually interviewed me via the phone. They went to the Greek islands and they did the press junket there, and they Richard and James Gunn were moderating it, and they called me. They called Scooby because I was working on another movie, a Matrix sequel. It was just a scenario they came up with because it was anyway. And I had to do this over the phone, and not knowing any of the questions they were going to ask me, a room full of press, but only my voice. Again, this is where they lent on my improvisational skills, and coming up with something funny, understandable, and relevant to the question and answering the question. Because Scooby doesn't say too much, so I've got to de-Scoobify some answers sometimes to make myself understood. And so they're ringing me. I've videoed it back in 2010, too. I videoed myself on the phone at 3 a.m., 2:30, 3 a.m. in the morning at home, trying not to wake my kids up on the phone, and that all went great. They were so pleased with the answers, and everyone was laughing and all that. And so, but that was a shame that I didn't get to be involved in the press so much, because I like talking about the movie, and I like the people I was working with. Sarah and Freddie got together on Scooby-Doo 1, as you know. He proposed to her on that show, and they come to me the next morning, and she's got this ring. She's got her hands like this, and she goes, "Guess what, Neil?" I go, "What?" "This happened."
Oh.
Oh my God. It took me away, so no one could see. And I said, "Oh God, that's so good. Great news. My God, this is wonderful." Just so I know, who knows? I won't say anything, that's for sure. And they go, "No one." And I went, "What?" "Oh, we told parents and that, but mate, what?" And I said, "Yeah, we wanted to tell someone, and we knew we could trust you."
That's so sweet.
Wow. Very sweet, very sweet. Anyway, what a great story they are too. Still together, two beautiful girls living in LA. I want to catch up with them when I'm there next, that's for sure. But yeah, so that was a bit of a bummer. Will Matthew Lillard and I be on a Comic-Con sometime soon? Yes. Wendy, we will be. Our schedules have been difficult for us to get together over the years, but we are being reunited for the first time in 23 years since we wrapped on Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed in Vancouver. Very, very soon. It's going to be next year, and here's the mystery. The mystery is, where are we going to be reunited, and when? Okay, I'm going to solve the first clue right now. It's February next year.
Okay.
So the mystery is, the clues are, it's not Australia. It's not the UK. There you go. I'm leaving it there. But that's a bit of a teaser, because we're not quite inked yet. So we've been trying to do this for so long, and we absolutely love each other. And I'm super excited to be doing a first panel of Scooby and Shaggy, together at a Comic-Con in the world. So it's going to be super exciting. And as soon as that's able to be released, that will be on my socials too. So it's going to be fun.
Incredible.
Everyone will be very excited about that, for sure.
They're losing their minds already. I mentioned it last week when I was in Manchester and Birmingham the week before in the UK, that did the same teaser to them, and they were just like, "Oh!" Massive applause. So yeah, I'm pretty excited. But I just want to see Matt too. I mean, he is everything that you hope he will be, and his persona online is exactly who the man is. Incredibly talented actor, beautiful person. Him and his wife Heather are still together. I mean, that's amazing. Beautiful couple. When we did Scooby-Doo 2 in Vancouver in 2003, little Addie, their daughter, was a toddler. She's now at college. I mean, it's a beautiful story, and can't wait to see him.
What would you most like to be remembered for?
Oh, that's a good question. I guess that I respected the whole Scooby-Doo character and franchise. That I didn't take it for granted. I realised how fortunate I was you've got to have a lot of luck in showbiz. There's no doubt about that. But you do need to back that luck up with talent and effort. And I revered this character, and called my dog Scooby-Doo 10 years before I got this. That tells you something. And so, yeah, I think just honoring the franchise, because I love it.
It definitely shows through. This has been amazing. Thank you so much for all the time that you've given us. Your passion definitely shines through, and
thank you.
We very much do hope that you get to voice Scooby for this Netflix series. We will be
Absolutely.
We're
rooting for you.
Make that happen for you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure, girls. And please stay in touch. Collaborate with me. Happy to be involved in anything. I like to help people to get more exposure, do what, fulfill their passion. My son and I did a podcast when he was in year 12, senior year at school, because he wanted to get into radio, and he does the best Scooby up after me that I know, because he's got the same voice as me. Yeah, he does it bang on. So anyway, we did a podcast called The Brody and Dad Show in year 12. This is 2001. No. Yeah, no one was doing podcasts. And we ended up being number 3 on iTunes in Australia.
Nice.
We were doing it from home. He was tech. I wasn't, absolutely not tech. But we were downloading sound effects, and it was very abacus, time for us to work it all out. And we did 7 episodes, and it was just us talking about our lives at the time, and then created all these characters. And I did, anyway, I'm going to release those soon. So I understand that, early on, it's great to have someone who's going to help you and get exposure. And so I do, help people to, get their podcasts out there by having a quick chat to me. And hopefully that brings their audience more, because, entertainment, as I said, is hard. So anyone who can help you to accelerate your career or give you a hand, I'm happy to do that, because there's no rule book. And no one gave me any advice. When I stepped on set on my first movie in 1992, I was a stuntman on Escape from Absalom with Ray Liotta on the Gold Coast. I walked onto this set, 150 people. It's so exciting. I'd been doing my training. I finally got my break. Yep, we're going to get you in for this day. And playing this village guy, not village people, but caked with mud in a G-string. That was my costume. So cold, couldn't believe it. Anyway, I was so excited. I got the call sheet and my name was on it. And I was like, oh, how cool is this? I've wanted this forever, and it's coming to fruition. I'm working hard, getting the results. And so I kept it. I kept the call sheet. That's cool. I'm sentimental. And then got called back for the next day, and it was there again. Kept it. I did, 3 weeks or something on the show, and kept every day. And I thought, that's really cool. I've got these call sheets with my name on it. It's proof that I'm in the industry. How exciting. So I've kept every call sheet that I've ever worked on any show in my career.
I think it's amazing.
Got boxes of them.
Yeah.
Because it's not just sentimentality for me. That's a bit OCD, maybe. Yeah, okay. But I don't collect things generally, but I do collect things like that mean something to me, that I work towards. But it's a Bible. It's who did I work on that show? Oh, that's right. It was so and so. And where were we? And it's got all the information that you want to know on the call sheet, as you know. Mm-hmm. It's your Bible. So it's a great record of where I was, what I was doing, and who I was, doubling and things. So that's a cool thing to be. Why have I brought that up? I don't know. Anyway, I'm rambling. It's I'm going to love you and leave you. Well, thanks, girls. It's been such a pleasure to talk to you both on the Scooby-Doo podcast. Scooby-Doo!
Thank you for tuning in to another Scooby panel. I'm Nikki Blake from ScoobyAddicts.com. If you like these panels, please subscribe to my channel for more great discussions. A huge shout out to our patrons, Julie Rosen, Ross from ScoobyFan.net, Tagus, Garrett Spencer, Paul the Scooby Dude, and Jesse. If you would like to support the Scooby panel, please go to patreon.com/ScoobyAddicts. A very special thank you to artist, blogger, and Scooby collector Wendy Bridge, and actor, stunt performer, and voice of Scooby-Doo in the live-action movies, Neil Fanning. Scooby Panel is available in podcast form on most podcast platforms, or as a web series on YouTube. You can find Scooby Panel on Instagram, Facebook, and X as @ScoobyPanel. We are part of the Collector's Maze Network, where you can find all things geek. Scooby and Shaggy were voiced by Scott Innes. Check out Scott's website, onescottshop.com. Scooby Addicts artwork by Will Davenport. Scooby Panel logo by Garrett Spencer. Video editing by Nikki Blake. Music composed and performed by Bovine Nightmares. Please join us next time for another Scooby panel.